Hey, all my fantasy football friends, welcome to the Multiple First Dynasty channel here on YouTube. We're here today to talk about some free agent frenzy. Me and Greg breaking it down. Here you go. Not a whole lot of big names have signed, but let's just get right into it. Aaron Rodgers, he hasn't signed anywhere. What do you think, Mr. Velociraptor?
Oh, okay. So I'm just working right now. We're recording. You may be watching this after he's already a Jet, but we're recording this after he said that he intends to be a Jet.
Yeah.
But before he's a Jet, but after Alan Lazard is a Jet, which I assume the Lazard move means that either they really wanted Alan Lazard anyway, or they have a commitment.
Yeah, he said he wants to be there. He's going to play there. And the way I was reading it is he hasn't formally requested a trade yet. Ooh, boy. This is so stupid, and I hate it, and I just want him to be a Jet already.
I assume that the holdup at this point maybe is compensation between the teams and not Rodgers. I kind of feel like the Rodgers end of this is done. He's going to go to the Jets. He's going to get the same money on the rest of his contract with maybe a little juice. But how do you feel about it? How do you feel about Rodgers the Jet?
I love it for the pass catchers there. Brees up, Wilson up, any tight ends, Jeremy Ruckert, whoever is playing tight end for them, arrows up. I'm down. Corey Davis, I'm down. Lazard probably starting. I'm interested. I don't really know where his ADP is right now, but I love it. I love it for pass catchers there. I love it for. I mean, if you're a Rodgers owner in Dynasty, are you happy him going to the Jets?
Yes.
Yeah, you got to be, right? I mean, better team. Better team. I don't know.
Better. Yes, I think so.
Better pass catchers. I mean, better support.
No, I think better team too. I mean, better running game, better. So, I think it's good for your Rodgers share. It's good for Brees. It's neutral-ish for Brees. I think Brees was going to be great either way, but I think it's great for Wilson and
great for Wilson. Love it. Can't wait to see what that
looks like. Great for Alan Lazard. We'll get to him later. Elijah Moore could get buried. I think this could all end up being bad for him. We hear rumors of Randall Cobb wanting to bring Randall Cobb in, and was it Mercedes Lewis?
Yeah.
And OBJ. I kind of think less than all of those end up coming in. I wonder if Bob Tonyan finds his way over there. But yeah, it's interesting. Are you interested in Tyler Conklin if he's free on your waiver wire in a tight end premium?
Yeah, I mean, if he's free, I'm interested. I'm willing to
take adding.
I'll take darts at the position right now in the weirdness of the year, but like I'm interested in whoever their starting tight end looks like he will be, and right now it is Conklin. So.
Okay, what odds are you willing to put on Jordan Love as a starting quarterback this year in the trade market? Are you trading for him as if there's 100% chance he's a starting quarterback, a 90% chance he's a starting quarterback?
Well, right now he's a starting. I mean, if we're going to operate under this assumption that he's going to the Jets, then he's a starting quarterback, right? It's kind of the other side of that coin. I don't know what to do with him. I think he's going to start. I own no shares of Love, not a single one. Just putting that out there. And it's hard to have an expectation. Probably a QB2 because he runs and has some weapons. I don't think this super high ceiling is there, personally.
That's really interesting. I feel like he's a low floor, high ceiling play as a quarterback 3. Okay. He's like this is a guy who's not safe, but like he has the first round pedigree, and he could be. He could get the franchise tag and get multiple years, and all of a sudden you're looking at like a Daniel Jones level asset that you didn't have to buy at those prices.
Yeah, sure. I can see that.
So that to me is my hope for him. So anyway, there you go. I think that's enough on Rodgers. The second biggest quarterback story of the market is Jimmy G so far. Jimmy G signing with the Raiders. Josh McDaniels special, downgrade your quarterback position right off the bat, run an elite receiver out of town, Darren Waller this time, and sign a bunch of Patriot cast-offs for more than their market value, and then step 4 profit, right?
I love it. That's how. I mean, he for Garoppolo, he will be starting alongside a top 10 pick rookie breathing down his neck, almost certainly. And it looks, consensus would say that's Will Levis right now,
Probably.
going in that 9 spot. So rough for Jimmy G. It's cool he's getting a starting job off the rip. I'm happy about this. If I'm an Adams owner or a Jacobs owner, this is probably about as good as you could have hoped for to help support those guys. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely answers a lot of the bad questions for Adams. And Jacobs, I was always kind of pretty confident on. It really does put the whole franchise up in the air. I kind of already am penciling in this as a spot where they're going to have a coaching vacancy next offseason.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden you look at everybody does that mean Josh Jacobs is out on the market in 12 months and stuff like that, right? So
is this a team that shocks the world and doesn't take a QB and just kicks the can with Garoppolo all year and then is just like the 101 next season? I mean, is that potentially happening here?
I don't know.
That's the undertone I get from this signing. I feel they're just going to take an offensive lineman. I don't even know who could be there, and
they're not going to be picking 101 with Garoppolo. They're going to be picking 111.
Yeah.
And no threat to win anything, but far away from the elite quarterback prospects. That's the problem with a Jimmy G. He's fine, and he'll I think he's a downgrade from Carr.
You're right. They probably won't be bad enough to get the 101 pick. But
right, and so anyway,
he could get hurt. Jimmy G's known to do that.
So yeah, there's that. Let's roll this together. Let's roll this talk together with the biggest wide receiver move on the market, which was Jacoby Myers also to the Raiders. So they brought in Jimmy. They have Adams. They bring in Jacoby Myers, former Patriot Jacoby Myers, to play with former Patriot Jimmy Garoppolo. With Devonta Adams. I assume this means Hunter Renfrow, who is not a former Patriot, is moving down the pecking order, right? But then they also trade off Darren Waller. We'll get to that when we, later. But so they've got now the 3 receivers, don't have the tight end, the elite tight end option anymore. How do you feel about this entire offense and the 3 receivers in it?
I like it more with Jimmy G at the helm than whatever the rookie's going to bring. It makes all of these assets so volatile because of that. Because of that fact, a quarterback shift could occur, and you're just stranded with dudes you spent a lot on that aren't doing anything. I like Jacoby Myers as a player. I think he's a good slot receiver. I think he is a wide receiver 2, 3 for your fantasy team potentially. Has that kind of upside anyway. He's an interesting story. Myers is, and I'm willing to draft him around his ADP of like the 10th, 11th round. So I see that going up. So I'm in at cost currently.
If the cost rises, I'm out.
Yeah. I'm like right at the top of it though.
I was kind of disappointed in this landing spot for him. I think he might get lost over there, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So so Rodgers, Jimmy G, the next most interesting quarterback free agency story so far has been the Baker Mayfield signing, right? So now we've got Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask in Tampa Bay. What are your thoughts?
I see Baker Mayfield beating Kyle Trask in a quarterback battle to win this position. I think he's interesting for fantasy because of the weapons, and I'm wondering if this puts the Bucs out of the quarterback market in the draft altogether. I think this move, that's what this says to me, is they're going to be Baker and Trask, and that's it.
Yeah, I think that is right, and I think Baker is going to be in the best position to win a job of him and the next couple of guys who we'll talk about here. I think Baker beats out Trask. I don't think Trask has a lot. But we'll see. The only people who've ever seemed to say nice things about Kyle Trask are like Tampa Bay insiders. So and of course it's not like he lost a job to anybody. He lost out to Tom Brady, and so who knows, right? But I really do think this is a chance to maybe reclaim Baker Mayfield a little bit. Like that, they could win that division with him.
Absolutely, they could. Yeah, and I think Mayfield can support some fantasy relevant wide receivers. I think if I'm a Mike Evans or Chris Godwin owner, I'm exhaling. Like, ooh, this could have been way worse. Baker can throw the ball deep. He's demonstrated that in Cleveland, and he can. I'm not gonna say he's gonna throw the ball 700 times in a season. He's not, but he can support your fantasy relevant wide receivers on a week to week basis. He can.
Hey, as a Cleveland fan, refresh us as to his tendencies regarding outside receivers, slot receivers, tight ends, and running backs. Who does he like?
He likes the tight end a lot. He likes the tailback a lot. Yeah, I feel. I don't know what you're getting at. I'm sorry.
That's some good. So that's some good news for your Kate Otten and your Rashad White.
Yeah.
Potentially. Does he? No, that was. I didn't exactly remember. I do remember he likes slot receivers.
Yeah.
Like Chris Godwin, and he doesn't always support the best production from the outside guys, as we saw with OBJ.
I think he throws the ball deep well, though. I do. I mean, I will give him that. It's just he's not very mobile, and he doesn't have the strength to break away from defenders. That was the biggest thing I always noticed in Cleveland, is once one guy gets a hand on him, they pull Baker down, and I think that was a big reason they made the shift to Deshaun. It's because Deshaun's a lot stronger, just physically a much stronger human being that moves around in the pocket better.
Okay, yeah. So I think that's solid. All right. Very similar situation. Washington Commanders signed Jacoby Brissett, another former Browns quarterback.
They're all former Browns quarterbacks.
to compete with Sam Howell, right? So that's a very parallel situation to what we saw in Tampa. Yeah. How do you like Brissett? How do you like Howell?
I think Brissett beats out Howell. Brissett was he was an interesting stopgap. He made me feel like we had like a Case Keenum type that we just asked too much of in all the starts. I say we as a Browns fan, but I don't know very much about Sam Howell other than he's got some good mobility to him. Jacoby demonstrated that he could still run an offense, maybe not at a high level, but he could at least run it for your team. I expect him to beat out Sam Howell for this job because this is a real professional against an undrafted free agent player.
All right, so let's play a little game.
Yeah.
You won your title with Tom Brady last year.
Okay, I did do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you give the 212 for Jacoby Brissett?
Shoot, man. Yeah. I'd be willing to try that. I suppose. I try to find a different move.
Would you give the 212 for Baker Mayfield?
Oh yeah, easily, definitely.
All right. You made a run, but got eliminated. You have the 209.
Ooh.
Would you give the 209 for Baker Mayfield?
Yeah, if I need a quarterback, I'd
replace your Tom Brady. Okay.
I think so. Sitting here now.
So, all right, contending team needs a quarterback to replace Tom Brady. Interested in Mayfield at those second round prices. Very good. And another situation that's very similar. Falcons brought in Taylor Heineke to compete with Desmond Ridder. Unlike the last two, I think Ridder holds off Heineke here, but I also think it's a competition. What do you read on that, Tony?
Yeah, I could see Ridder doing that. It is probably going to be a competition. I see Ridder as a better player than Taylor Heineke. Similar situations, all right, as far as Heineke to the Brissett we were talking about, because they have some starting experience. They had some success. Unlike some of the other situations, I think that the Falcons are still in a draft to QB market, still looking. There's no chance that they really feel confident about what they have right now between these two guys.
I can't imagine they get one without moving up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so they. I mean,
they're still in the quarterback market, I guess is what I'm trying to say. They're out of
there.
Yeah.
But they could trade up to 3. There are options, but yeah. There's Hendon Hooker in the second.
Yeah.
There's options. So you think there might be a third investment. That feels, man, investing a third and then a Heineke and then let's say a hooker. That feels like a lot of investment to not have a guy.
They probably feel really good about Ritter. I don't know. It's weird. I thought this signing was weird. It's hard to make sense of this. It's kind of a wash at their quarterback position. I don't really want either of these players.
I'm kind of sneaky buying Ritter right now in Superflex.
Okay, that's fair.
Like he's if I could slide my Brock Purdy and a thing across, you know what I mean?
To get some Ritter,
yeah. Right? Like I'm not looking to just buy it with straight draft capital.
Yeah.
But if I could take some of my lower value sell players and go try to buy a guy who has day 2 draft capital and looks right now like the quarterback, and he's going to get Drake London and Kyle Pitts, and I mean, crazier things have happened. Like that could turn into just their quarterback. It's not a great chance, but then you could have an asset who's worth multiple firsts if you've got a young quarterback locked in with good receivers.
Does the division so bad that they accidentally win so many games that they don't get the 101? Because that might happen as well.
They're definitely no team in that division is going to get the 101 because it's a bad division.
Yeah, they're all just going to chop each other up,
and it's a bad conference, right? Like somebody in the AFC who breaks bad is going to go to forever.
All the good teams in the AFC are going to stomp one team into
the
dirt.
Exactly. This is what's going to happen, and definitely a team in the worst division in football where all the teams are like bottom half teams. All 4 of them are bottom half of the league teams, so none of them are going to lose enough games. That's my take.
All right, Sam Darnold to the Niners. What do you think?
That's real good news for Trey Lance. That to me, that's enough investment to say they're worried about Purdy's elbow, and little enough investment to say that they want Trey Lance. Andy Dalton to the Panthers. He's the bridge quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. So if you are out there, let's just say you are a contending team last year. You lost Brady. You have the 102, and you're going to take a quarterback, but you don't know if they're going to start right away. Go get Dalton for real cheap, and you'll get like 6-7 starts off the top, probably.
Maybe it might be a lot less than that. I don't know. He could be like a 2-gamer.
Maybe right, but you can. Like, if you know you're going to be taking one of these high quarterbacks, this is a bridge you can buy for a 4th rounder now, and get you some early season superflex starts. I think. All right, running backs.
RBs. Who we got? Number 1 free agent signing was Miles Sanders. Got signed by the Carolina Panthers. Fantasy relevant. I think this tailback, he's a good runner, and definitely an opening at the position. Where are you at with this?
I think this is one of the best landing spots going.
Mm-hmm.
The Panthers last year had 3 running backs: Christian McCaffrey, Chuba Hubbard, and Deontay Foreman, all over 4.5 yards per carry. That's a good run blocking team, and nobody was afraid of them throwing the football, right?
Yeah.
So I think Miles Sanders is going to get a lot of run. I also don't think he's such an intimidating personality there that your Chuba Hubbard is worthless.
Yeah. Probably no more Foreman coming back though, right? Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Foreman's going to go elsewhere.
Yeah.
I think Miles Sanders is going to have an RB1 season if he is healthy, because that is a good run blocking team.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It makes you feel better about whatever quarterback they take, and your stance on that QB. I'm happy they get a real playmaker with the football in his hands on this team, because they didn't have any really. So.
Yep.
Next biggest RB was David Montgomery to Detroit. Love David Montgomery. Interesting spot for him, landing with the Detroit Lions. You can get this guy right now in like the 12th round of your draft. That's where I saw Monty go in my most recent one.
I think he's going to get a bump here.
Yeah, dude. I think so too. Just because he'll finally have some clarity about what's happening. That was what was holding him down, I think.
Yeah.
All the uncertainty. Yeah.
It's just very, like, the combination of he's clearly an upgrade over Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams signed for less money in free agency for the same number of years, right? So they went and moved on from a team captain to pay more money from Monty, right? So they didn't do that as an insurance policy to DeAndre Swift. They did that to make David Montgomery the starting running back.
Yep.
Now, it's going to be a split backfield. They're going to split work. I actually think Montgomery might be a buy and Swift might be a buy.
Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier. Yep. I think
this
Swift
might
has
be
fallen so far. He's probably a buy right now.
I'll tell you what. I went to all my leagues an hour before we started recording, or I looked up my rostership of Tony Pollard, who got some good news today. We'll get to that in a minute. I looked and I went and offered every share of Tony Pollard I have for DeAndre Swift in a 24 first. And
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see if any of those get big.
Yeah.
But
keep me in the loop on that.
That's the kind of move. Like, I think we've reached buy low territory on DeAndre Swift. He is a very efficient player with his touches, as long as your expectations are in line with his limited touches. All right. The next most interesting move, not the next biggest dollar move, but I think the next most interesting move is Rashad Penny to the Eagles. I think we've got some Rashad Penny truthers on this podcast, don't we?
We have one or two, yeah.
Yeah. So like Rashad Penny, I think he's fourth in NFL history in yards per carry.
Is he really? I didn't know that.
He's 5.7 yards per carry for his career.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So he doesn't catch passes. He doesn't stay healthy. The Eagles are actually a terrible situation for running backs in many ways, because the quarterback takes off and runs instead of dumping off, and the quarterback gets so many inside the 5 carries. But it's a good run blocking line. It's a good offense. They run a bunch of guys out there and let whoever's playing well play. And like Rashad Penny is fourth in NFL history in yards per carry, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's a really, really good player. Like, unless they draft literally Bijan Robinson or Jahmyr Gibbs, there's nobody they draft who's going to be better than Penny when healthy. They may draft somebody, and that guy may play a lot because Rashad Penny may break his whatever.
Yeah.
But Rashad Penny is going to eat if he stays healthy this year. But he is one of my zero RB guys who I'm like, let's be buying Rashad Penny. Oh, we missed another one. Monty, Khalil Herbert. That's another zero RB guy. We should
love
be.
It. Yeah, I have a lot of Khalil Herbert, and I got Rashad Penny in the 17th round of this 14-team startup. So
I love that.
That's if you're seeing Rashad Penny in those teens rounds, those late teens, go scoop that up, baby.
I love that. All right, next one, Samaje Perine to Denver. Guys, I think this is a really interesting ad you can make for not a whole lot. We know that Javonte Williams is likely to miss the first 6 weeks. We don't know if they're going to make another ad, but this is a big enough financial investment that they probably won't make a huge additional ad. And so if you're going to get at least 6 weeks of starting out of Samaje Perine, this is how you find a guy who's going to start early in the season, and then you get some injury away guys, and some of those guys are going to hit for you by the time Perine starts losing his workload. Right? So this is how you play that zero RB game, guys.
Yeah, he's going to have some spot starts for Perine in the beginning of the season. Are going to be there, I think, on the table for him.
Predictable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Predictable, yep. Probably still draft an RB, though. I've been putting this on Denver all offseason since the Peyton hiring. I imagine Sean Payton's going to want to bring in his guy from the rookie class, so I'm putting a high likelihood of that.
Yep. Jamal Williams to the Saints. Here's another one, right? Like, are we pretty confident Alvin Kamara is going to miss some time?
I am, dude. That bar fight was like bad. I mean, if you guys haven't watched the video of it, I mean, they're just wailing on some dude on the ground.
That's 4 to 6 clarified starts for Jamal Williams.
I'm thinking so. Yeah.
Right. So you can scoop that up for very little. And he's probably, even when Kamara comes back, if they have a good matchup, you can flex him in the bye weeks. And then if Kamara misses a week with a tweaked whatever, you can flex him. You can start him again, and you don't have to pay a lot. Jamal Williams, decent landing spot for his fantasy value. I do think if you thought his 17 touchdowns meant he had leveled up, you're going to be very disappointed.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah. Ezekiel Elliott got cut.
Rough day for Zeke, man. That's like such a great dominant fantasy player. If you're listening to this show, you've probably won a title or at least won some games because of Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, he's just been so good for so long, and rough for him. Could he land well? I don't know. He looked like he really didn't have any juice left in his legs at the end of the season.
So yeah, he's only 27, but those guys, they go fast.
Yeah, so many carries lifetime. I mean, just Zeke's around that 2,000 carry mark. I think it's really, really rough for him.
He feels like more of a guy who could help your zero RB team by like landing in Kansas City after whoever they cycle through in the first half of the year busts out. And then like he's the RB1 in a playoff week because he's something like
Zeke
that.
Elliott, yeah,
right,
totally.
So he seems like somebody who you should have an eye on, but I'm not ready to invest unless anybody else is investing. Are you willing to cut him if he stays unsigned, let's say beyond the NFL draft?
No, I'm not. It would have to be deep into the season, and like they're out there playing ball, and Zeke isn't on a team. I'm not. And I wanted to, on the same vein, we were talking about Sam Darnold. Would you cut Sam Darnold, or he's definitely worth rostering right now, right? As a Niners backup.
I mean,
sorry to pivot on you so hard there.
If you had him, if you were rostering him as Baker Mayfield's backup, you should probably continue rostering him through camp.
Sure.
Like if he loses the job, I might cut him around September. But like, we'll see. But like, yeah, he's got a chance in camp. I'm definitely he should be rostered in your Superflex leagues for sure.
Miami Dolphins re-signed both their tailbacks, and that sucks for fantasy. I mean, both those guys should continue to produce, but I'm really aggravated that they are not going to get a high-dollar rookie in there. And when I say both their tailbacks they re-signed, I mean actually all four of them, because they re-signed Jeff Wilson, Raheem Mostert, the other two guys,
Miles Gaskin, Salvon Ahmed.
Yeah, and Salvon Ahmed all got re-signed by Miami.
And I think they're going to draft somebody. I just don't. I don't know that it's going to be maybe a day 3 person. Yeah. But like, what if they throw a 4th round pick into this mess? It's like it could get messier and not better. Now the flip side is like the total investment on these 4 contracts is like, $7.5-8 million this year, right? So like if they decided they were going to trade up for Jahmyr Gibbs or whatever, like this could just be the plan. This could be plan B, right?
Yeah.
And I don't even know that every dollar of this is guaranteed, right? Some of these people could be cut before opening day. But it is interesting that they brought everyone back.
All right, wide receivers. We talked about Myers a little bit. Juju Smith-Schuster signed a $33 million deal with the Patriots. The only reason that number is relevant is because it's the same dollar amount that Jacoby Myers signed for. So what did New England actually accomplish here?
I'm in love with this move.
Yeah?
I am. So this is going to sound crazy, but I think Juju has found the role he was meant to play. Is the Edelman role.
The slot receiver Patriots Belichick role.
I think so. I think what we're going to find out is that he's a better player than Jacoby Myers, and he's going to go into Jacoby Myers' role and be better, be a mid wide receiver. I really like this for Juju.
Yeah.
I really like this. I did not expect to like where Juju landed as much as I like this.
It's so hard to keep staying in on Juju. I mean, he's just he looked slower on the field last year, and I have a lot of him. I was really banging the drum for him after he signed in KC. I'm still in, and I do like him more than Myers. To Greg's point, it's hard to see like big time upside, but I don't know. The volume's going to be there, so I mean, I'm interested. And his cost is low. This community's really been fading the heck out of him. So, and
Yes.
honestly, I don't see this move bumping him up heavy either. I think this is going to
No.
be someone that you could get consistently in like that 10th, 11th, 12th round, and take that,
I,
take that
I
stuff.
think people might falsely tell you that Myers got a good landing spot and Juju got a bad landing spot.
No, it's
And
backwards. Yeah.
and I think that's backwards,
Yeah.
right? And they might move those values the wrong directions. And then Alan Lazard.
Yeah, dude, the $44 million man. Who'd have thought Alan
Well,
Lazard would ever
okay.
be worth that much money?
Let's talk this through. Okay, so Garrett Wilson's going to be the wide receiver one.
Oh yeah.
Right? But Alan Lazard, if he goes, he gets to play with Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers is playing with a bunch of guys he doesn't know. Alan Lazard is going to be a target monster, man.
Yeah,
he's going to be a hog.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to score 10 touchdowns. Like Alan Lazard could be a sneaky league winner. Do you remember last offseason how we were all like, Alan Lazard is the wide receiver one for Aaron Rodgers? Like, I know he's just Alan Lazard, but like,
that's real interesting.
He's going to score you a lot of points, ugly points, and he kind of did, even though Christian Watson broke out.
Yeah.
Like and I think that's where we're at with Lazard. I am buying. Because my expectation was he was going to get paid to go somewhere and then be bad, like MVS.
Yeah.
And like suddenly that's not going to happen. So if the community doesn't react quickly enough, I think there's a buying opportunity on Lazard as like an older rental player or whatever, right? Like gosh, man, smash him in best ball right now, right? Like he's nowhere, right? And that kind of thing. And then finally, we got Michael Thomas staying with the Saints.
Yeah, MT, the record holder for what, most receptions in a season, right?
Yeah, and so he's going back there.
$10 million 1-year prove-it deal to return to your old team. Yeah, Derek Carr in place. Like I said on last week's show, he's trading around like wide receiver 70 or something. I mean, that's way too low. You should probably draft this guy. He's definitely worth rostering. The upside's all there. I mean, look at that. I mean, 4 consecutive top 7 PPR finishes and then fell off a cliff. He's only played 10 games in the last 3 years. So, yeah, worth it at cost.
You give a 208 for him?
No, probably not.
302?
Oh yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Maybe 208's worth it. No, I did that last year and I didn't like it. Yeah,
and we had a big tight end trade.
Darren Waller goes to the New York Giants and absolutely devastates all my Dan Bellinger shares.
I am
so sad.
I'm so glad I sold you that Dan Bellinger share on a couple of weeks ago. That was Jerry Jeudy who's about to get traded, maybe.
No, never.
And and Dan Bellinger for Drake London.
Yep.
So I feel pretty good about that.
Well, little do you know, I actually like Jeudy more than London by himself. So what's up with that?
Wrong about London. I'm aware that you have the wrong opinion of Drake London. But Darren Waller is in a very interesting spot.
Yes,
where all of a sudden he is in that place that has seen him be very successful, which is he is the best passing target on a bad passing offense.
Oh yeah.
Like that's been his bread and butter. I know people like it when their players are on good offenses, but tight end is one of those positions where sometimes a good tight end on a bad offense just eats.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's been Darren Waller at his best, is like 18 dump offs, you know?
Yeah, early career George Kittle, I mean, the rest of the offense was pretty bad around him, and he was just awesome.
Yeah, Antonio Gates had a number of years where that team was terrible.
Oh, yeah.
But they had no receivers,
mm-hmm.
right? They couldn't move the football, and they were always behind. And it was just like Gates down the middle, Gates down the middle, Gates down the middle.
Hawkinson's number 4 tight end season. He was like the only pass catcher on Detroit that wasn't useless.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So Waller is now in a place. Now, the Giants may go add somebody in the first round of the draft, or they may add Jerry Jeudy. I know specifically they have called about Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah. Did you talk to your guy in the inside Denver front office?
No,
Yeah.
no, they're the one person. They're the one team that repeatedly has been connected to Jared
Yeah.
But Waller is the best weapon they've got now, and I could see him getting just real security blanket levels of targets in an offense that isn't terrible but doesn't have passing game weapons.
Can Waller return to a tight end one form with
Yes.
with health? If he plays 16, 17 games, is he tight end one again?
Yes, I'm more in on Waller than I've been in 2.5 years.
Yeah, I'm interested too.
Yeah. He's not that old. Did you see the sad story about his?
Yeah, about he just got married, and his new wife plays for the women's basketball team in Vegas, the Aces, I think.
The WNBA team in Vegas, or so. That was very convenient for 2 weeks for them.
Yeah, and now he's traded across the country. So enjoy your.
Yeah.
It's okay. You could probably afford to buy a private jet with two pro athletes in the family.
Second, Hayden Hurst landing in Carolina. What do you?
Yeah, Hurst wasn't completely disappointing in Cincinnati last year. This is a nice veteran tight end to help bring whatever rookie quarterback they get in there along. I don't predict a lot of fantasy relevance for Hayden Hurst. Probably a low tight end 2, right around where he was.
Low tight end 2, where he was last year.
Yeah, I can't imagine he grows from there ever.
And then that's really all the signings, but we've had some sort of buzz about Dalton Schultz.
Yeah, Schultz to the Chargers would be cool. That's what I keep hearing. Have you heard anything around him?
I have heard that, so the Chargers hired Dallas OC Kellen Moore as their new OC. So that's why those rumors are there. I heard he's having a visit, but I heard they're also interested in Gesicki.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And
I'm interested in whichever one signs.
I'd be interested in whoever lands there.
Yeah.
And hey, guys, somebody's going to land in Vegas, and there's a pretty decent chance they bring Foster Moreau back. So, check your waiver wires. In any kind of tight end premium. In a one tight end, no premium, you can ignore this. But in a tight end premium or a 2 tight end league, just go check your waiver wires for Foster Moreau.
Yeah, he should be rostered in your leagues. This guy can produce when he's on the field. And Jimmy G leans on his tight end. Also, the offense that McDaniels designs uses the tight end pretty well. So.
And there aren't any former Patriots tight ends on the market, right?
Mm-hmm.
So bringing back his own guy is the next option.
They're going to trade for Hunter Henry, get him back on the West Coast.
I can't believe they didn't land Jonnu.
All right, so that's the free agent roundup. Wanted to check in with our Dynasty 24/7 365 League of Record here on the Multiple First Dynasty Football channel. As you know, we are the reigning champion here, and we also have 5 first-round picks in 2023. Just an embarrassment of riches is the term that comes to mind when we're looking at Josh Allen, Justin Fields, our slew of wide receivers, and our cachet of picks. What are we doing here in the offseason? Looks like we got 7 trades pending, Greg.
Yeah, well, so the number one thing that we have decided to do with our picks is we are looking to move off of the 11 and 12 picks, which we think at the moment feel like they're at the top of a tier, which means you either want to go up a few spots to get over a tier or back a bunch of spots, pick something up and stay on the tier. So we've been trying to package 111 and 112 for any top 7 pick. And if you happen to have a contending team or a champion or a runner-up last year and you got 11 and 12, and you're out there looking for maybe consolidating assets, I think this is a move that could make a lot of sense, is 11 and 12 to get up into a higher pick. And then barring that, I would consider moving off of one of these picks to go down into the second and pick up a second next year, or trading one of these picks. Like the next step might be offering 112 for a 24 first to everybody in the league.
Yeah, I like that move a lot. I find that type of move is super high hit rate when the pick is like on the clock. People are just sitting there looking at the board and they say, hey, they see that trade in their inbox and it's like I can draft this player just by hitting accept on this deal that costs me nothing on the front end. That's a high hit probability on deals like that. Something I've learned in my years.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. So yeah,
So we'd send out the 11 and 12 as a pairing to all in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these 5 slots from the 1.2 to the 1.6. We offered that to all 5 of these men. We didn't even send it to the 101 person because he's not going to accept that. But we're trying to get up here and we're trying to land another one of these like elite A-listers because our picks are kind of jumbled up in the second and third tiers.
We have 107, and we've just decided that 7 is a cutoff, right? So we're trying to get a second pick ahead of 7.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yep.
Because otherwise, we're going to end up with, Will Levis and then we're going to have to be looking at Johnston and Addison, which is all to the good, right? Like it's fine, but like, yeah, I'm with you. Let's try to move up and get past there. Now, I do want to notice a couple guys on the trade block in this league include Najee Harris, include DeAndre Swift, Cam Akers, David Montgomery. So like a bunch of running backs we've actually talked about as potential trade targets.
Yeah, potential values.
So like there are some follow-up outs to look at later if the initial round of trades doesn't go our way. So you can always make sure you have your next move planned is something I think.
Yeah, we could send out maybe some flyers to these. I mean, we were talking about Swift. What's a price from our roster we would pay to get Swift right now, or Monty? Maybe let's send out a trade here. What do you think? Are we interested enough in either of these guys to actually make a move on one of them? Who do we like more at cost? Probably like Montgomery more because of the volume. Or do we want Swift for the upside?
So one of the things about Swift is I think he's going to get. I think he's going to be a free agent. Like they're not going to sign him, right? Mm-hmm. And so. I kind of like both of them. I would love to. Could you trade 112 for Swift and a future second?
We can certainly send that offer. I'm going to do it right now.
Yeah.
So we're going to send 112, and let's take a look at this guy's roster, Mr. IMJD. He said Trevor Lawrence, Trey Lance, Davis Mills, Zach Wilson, don't really care. Running backs, Rashad White, James Cook, Zonovan Knight, Ebner, Hollywood Brown, Kadarius Toney. Maybe we try to buy Kadarius Toney as a buy low instead of the future 2. This was something I was thinking. Alec Pierce could be a candidate.
We do have some roster crunchy stuff. I don't love to. I like the idea of adding a pick next year.
Adding a future. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. So, which roster are we looking at here again? Let's see.
We're looking at IMJD. He's got DeAndre Swift. He's actually got several 2024 second-round picks. We could take a shot at one of them. Oh my God, dude.
Yeah. And he could have. I don't. And you'd almost take your choice. Boy, he's got. Yeah, Kadarius Toney is semi-interesting there. We mentioned Rashad White as an interesting piece, but I think. I feel pretty good about asking for the second.
I'm asking for Jefferson's second. I haven't even looked at his team. I just picked one of the 3. He probably won't trade us his own. People don't usually do that.
So that makes sense.
I'm going to send it. 112 for DeAndre Swift and a second. You're watching trades go out live here on Multiple First Dynasty Football. That's what we do.
Love it.
Yeah, so I think that's a nightcap, man. 45 minutes, nice and clean. Thank you so much for joining us here today, guys. We appreciate it. Leave a comment. Let us know what you would do with the 24-17. What trades are you making? How would you leverage what we have to go up and get a top 3 pick, top 4 pick? Hit me up in the DMs. Hit up Greg the Velociraptor in the DMs. We'll help you with your trades. We'll help you with your draft picks. And thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Appreciate it. Everyone have a wonderful, safe evening.